考え方って、
なんだっけ。
Dr. Swansea asked me to collect you, Dr. Reed. Hurry up!
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse. It's locked, all right.
Yes, Doctor?
Please, could you point me in the direction?
It's the large boarded up...
Why then do you always work the night?
At the Pembroke, we're...
Your dedication to the Pembroke does you credit, Nurse Crane, but when do you sleep?
We staff get our sleep when we can, Doctor. Nursing is...
Lack of sleep and the medical profession always ends in...
London's trenches start here at Pembroke Hospital. We are on the front line, make no mistake.
Exactly how bad is this?
It really depends. Dr. Swansea deftly worked...
That's all for now.
Good evening, Well...
How would you
It's...
You must... Nurse do you need medical help yourself, nurse?
I'm fine, really. I just need to sleep.
How would you describe...
It's...
How long have you been...
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic...
You're... How long...
Well, long enough to...
You're right. How is the Pembroke staff coping with...
Well, not well...
Why is...
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation.
Why does
What?
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Good evening.
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening.
Good evening, Doc.
How is the situation?
You want to hear the situation?
So what do
I've been at...
Since you're on the...
It's a...
It's...
Yesterday.
You left...
Go there, you...
Are you really...
And why not?
But you're not...
You keep...
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm fine, Doc. Physically, at least. But I would give everything to be in a better place right now.
I'd like to...
Wise choice, Dr. Reed.
Так, идем задание выполнить. Или куда? А, ну да. Как писать линку? Свой маркер. Main. Нормально, пойдет. Летим.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Да, не понимаю вас, короче, наверное, не могу вас убить. ты... Все, я сдох. Фактически. Пиздец. Ну, чё? Крутится. Чё ты не уешь-то?
I cannot enter.
Наверное.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Я не сила маленького владельца. А, ну я понял.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save...
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin color that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
I'd like to see...
Wise choice, Doctor.
similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. It's locked.
Так, у тебя ключ какой-то был. Мне же какой-то ключ дали. Ключ от морга. От морга. От морга. Нихера себе. Нихуя. Это его дневник. Дневник.
These men, they're a company of professional vampire hunters.
Кто это?
This key will surely grant me access to the basement. Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful.
Ой.
These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not outdoors.
Ну дай уже.
Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. It's locked, all right.
Все, я сдох. Ограничен жить. Ну добей уже его, наконец.
These skulls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting.
ну это хорошо. Ну, заходить на палец, либо на пилу. Переработать нельзя, можно продать, я помню. Триста, я сколько у меня, сколько кровь? Отделение кровь. 300, подождите, 500, да, мне хватит. Колин. Так, куда надо мне? Наверх. Мне наверх надо идти. Вкус. Тут можно было хилиться еще чуть-чуть. Еще. А чего у вас так много расплодилось? Стали. Да, блядь. Кури палку сейчас стал. Это какое средство с притомлением?
I cannot enter.
Ну для слова мне, конечно. Найти убежище, надо найти убежище, чтобы прокачаться. Мне надо выходить из этого из этой параши. Делать средства перетомления. Я не могу пройти, потому что надо сделать, походу...
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye.
Чего, как я должен туда зайти? На этом этаже. Делать надо.
Not now. Please come back later.
Переутомление. У меня раствор гипохлорита натрия не найдено. А где он находится, гипохлорита? Давайте сделаем пока что. Прокачаемся. достать это. О, натрий. Натрий, углерод, кислород. Ой, я не знаю. Да, это раствор. О, кислород, это вода. Вода, смешанная с натрием.
The flower's dying. It needs water. It's locked, all right.
Вот пипа. Тут такая.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the...
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover, to hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Томас. Ну, как раз
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Won't blame you.
You don't seem worried by them.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect.
Мать,
Told you.
надо они таблетки.
It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
You know you can't hide forever. One day you'll have to face your loved ones. Until that day, you have no chance of real recovery.
My friends all died in the trenches. It's shameful enough to be alive with these stupid scars. I don't want my children to see me like this.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
You told me before you don't want your children to see you like this. Do you have any other family?
My sister Agatha has raised my nippers since their mother died. Don't want them to look at me like this.
How could children despise their father injured in the war?
What do you think? They saw me. Once. Like poor angels left the room crying. They keep on having nightmares every week, my sister told me.
Your sister's not a child. I'm sure she has nothing but respect for a wounded soldier, and you are her brother.
You don't know my sister Agatha. She may be young, but she's all discipline and morality. If she ever found out what really happened...
She doesn't have to know.
She's a sly one, my sister. One day she'll find out the truth and knock 7 bells out of me. Nah. I'm better off here.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of my blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood. Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Чего вы тоже кидают? Да, пошли гипнотизировать тебя.
Fear and disgust on every street.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Сколько мне опыта сделал схем? 1000 опыта? А давайте. Сейчас создадим. Вот сюда. Хотя может отпустить, типа не есть дела. Типа он. Запусти все уже, запустил его, запустили больше полно.
So this is how it ends. Farewell, my life, you betrayed me, good.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Mr. Hampton.
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, Sora.
What do you mean? You remain...
Thank you, Doc.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place, and he refused to... Let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle?
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of...
Who leads the gang?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel... empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And
Are you a priest, Miss?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Have you made friends since...
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke?
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later. I cannot enter.
Wasting too much energy for so little result.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
so tired. Will this shift never end?
The benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, sir.
Сколько?
Good evening, Rick. Could you... Tell me about you.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
How painful is...
So painful, I'd rather not talk at all.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient...
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence...
Yes, maybe. But I don't want...
How painful is your...
So painful, I'd rather not talk.
I'll let you get some...
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening.
It's my son.
I'm Dr...
I'm bit...
What can you...
Not much to...
Are you really?
Yes.
May I ask if you...
I'm a teacher.
What do you think of your...
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially...
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first...
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude. She managed...
She charged you?
Yes. And I paid without question.
I share your concern, Miss...
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Miss...
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Yes, Doctor?
Please, could you point me in the direction of the morgue?
It's the lot.
That's all. Good evening. Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy.
I was more...
I'm a
Are you
Well,
I won't...
are you sure?
In others... Tell me about...
Strict.
What do you...
I off.
Goodbye for now.
You always knew the words to calm. And the children, Helen. As for me.
Мне эти пробирки всего повязали.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival.
Does my arrival inconvenience?
Let us just say that I don't particularly...
If you...
Doctors...
I know... Aren't you...
Don't be...
Since you...
Let's just...
Careless.
We're here...
I don't...
Modern...
I don't know...
I don't...
And what...
I said...
Be careful.
I only...
This... It seems you have... We cannot... Thank you for your...
As for me.
Good evening, Doctor.
I am through.
Please, could you tell me?
I'm a great admirer.
What made you...
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work.
It's...
This
I based...
I'd rather...
As long...
You're not the...
What do you think of Doc...
It's a...
With...
I believe...
So you...
Doctor...
What can...
Well, it...
Do you need...
Well...
Do you want...
Oh, no.
I see. You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a...
Questions are true. Tell me, Harvey, what is it? Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
You don't have to worry about me, Dr. Reed. I am here to assist you, not to be a burden.
Tell me more about Harvey. What is it? Tell me, but why? Because this Goodbye, Dr. Good evening.
Good evening.
Tell me about your injury, Hart.
My wife died because of me.
How could your job be
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal.
You can't hope...
Of course.
Tell me more about...
What happened? The German...
I'm sorry for your loss.
I would like to say that...
How are your children?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is...
Goodbye for now.
Good.
Goodbye for now.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like...
Wise choice.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening. Why did your mother...
My mother...
Is your mother... Pembroke Hostel. How painful. I have...
Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening.
Do you require
I have...
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
А, я мог его спросить.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Do you need any help? I will see you later. I have...
Doctor.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. Good evening.
What do you know?
A point?
Yes.
Who comes here?
I'm very... What come with...
Are you...
What?
It's...
How did... Do you get? Why? Because...
Why...
It... Every... I...
So you're a what?
No, Doctor.
Do you really?
Yes.
Please.
Of course.
Мам, тебе звонят.
Goody.
Goodbye.
Сейчас все сказали, едем. А сколько я уже стримлю? Я что-то не задумался. Я даже стрим не открыл. Чат. Читать, что было. Час 30. Ну еще надо где-то 30 минут. О, 30 минут. И 3 минуты. 3 минуты. Ту-ту-ту-ту. А, на втором этаже? Я вас понял. Это я хожу постоянно. Плюс какую жопу я хожу. А я забыл продать мачете. Все, давайте дадим, потом уже покачаемся. Стоп-сейв был. Стоп-сейв был удален в игре. Какой там сейф?
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find any?
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now,
Duty calls. When the storm...
many thanks.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir.
This hospital seems to be falling apart. But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you a benefit of the doubt.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
It may seem strange, but your words have brought me some comfort here.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. Please.
The Pembroke...
A spokes
discretion...
And you would like...
By the stole of...
Accepted.
Do you need something?
I have just a...
Then ask.
You meant... Yet you don't fear me. And still...
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for
That...
I feel it...
Since you seem quite the expert on vampires...
As men of science, our first step is always to start with...
The sun. The morning following my...
You will find there is very little that can kill...
Must I take a life?
You are a vampire. You feed. At...
The man we...
He was a...
Where do...
The name means slave. The...
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a skull?
A skull is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires... Now, vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
Since I'm the one...
Well...
Where do we stand today?
Well, to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first wave of the Spanish flu last summer took us by surprise. We lack many of the basic necessities needed.
What do you...
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is a war. This white coat's still a uniform. We fight to help the poor, the sick of the...
We'll see each other.
Игра вылетела.